Hello, everyone.
It is a significant job with a prestigious title, but to better understand Kayleigh McEnany's path to the White House, you need to understand her overall view of life.
I believe God put me in this place for a purpose and for a reason, like he does with each and every life. We are all here for a reason.
As White House press secretary, her daily purpose is to present, explain, and defend the president's decisions and policies. And her preparation shows, as she often turns the tables on a hostile media.
I assume you care about fairness and accuracy in our elections, do you not? I guess I would turn the question back on the media and ask similar questions. Perhaps you should look into it and get me some answers.
At just 32 years of age, McEnany is one of the youngest ever to hold this position. While the Harvard law grad looks calm, cool, and collected behind the legendary podium, it was a different story before her very first briefing.
I was in panic mode right before.
So that led to an impromptu West Wing prayer session.
I was just rattled and extremely nervous and feeling a lot of anxiety. And I called my mom, and on speakerphone, my family and I, we all prayed together. All of a sudden, I took a deep breath, and after those prayers, it moved forward. I felt such strength, went in, talked to the president, and then walked out and did the job that only could be done if God was there helping you along the way.
She also got some help that day from former press secretary Sarah Sanders.
Sarah is a wise mentor, and in fact, that day when I was so nervous before the first press briefing, it was her text that helped me quite a lot in that moment, because she sent me a Jesus Calling devotional.
Raised in a Southern Baptist home and attending a Florida Catholic all-girls school, the call of Jesus has always been near. As a teenager, Kayleigh walked down the aisle of her church to give her life to Christ. And then in her 20s, something happened that deepened her faith even more.
I was going through a hard time in New York, and I was going to a great church in New York, and I remembered feeling very lonely. It was when I first started my young professional life, and I remember getting a call, and I never answered numbers I didn't know, but I answered that day, and it said, hey, this is the Journey Church. We feel like we need to pray for you right now. How can we pray for you? And it was at a distinct moment that I needed to hear from Christ, and I felt that he communicated to me through my church. And it's that moment, I think, my faith became even more real.
That faith has helped Kayleigh deal with adversity, especially when she found out that her mom and other women in her extended family carried a rare gene that makes breast cancer very likely. She got tested in college and then got a phone call.
It was close to Christmas Eve. It was right around that time, and just crying because I got a call from the doctor saying, you have this genetic mutation. I didn't know what to do with it.
For the next decade, Kayleigh considered prevention in the form of a double mastectomy, but wanted to wait until she could go through it with a future soulmate. Well, enter Sean.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Year after their marriage vows, she took the preemptive plunge.
I had a nipple-sparing mastectomy, and they removed my breast tissue, and I'm able to say today that I will never get breast cancer, or my chances are like 0.001% because of that choice.
To mark the occasion, she wore socks with bright lemons on them, reinforcing the message that when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And boy, oh boy, has she been making lemonade. She joined CNN as a conservative voice and outnumbered, but standing her ground.
He was the first person. He was the first person to allow.
Hit the campaign trail, becoming a top Republican Party official.
President Trump has achieved for this country. He's the greatest president in our lifetime.
But the sweetest moment came with the birth of her baby girl. As a newborn, Blake joined mom on the campaign trail at times, and now she's made it to the White House. Husband Sean playing the role of stay-at-home dad in Florida, and her family pitches in too. Meanwhile, Kayleigh travels back and forth from home to her high-stress day job.
Do you need an Excedrin at times?
It is a balance.
It's a tough sacrifice on all sides.
But I know at the end of the day, if I give Blake the same faith upbringing and relationship with Jesus Christ that my parents gave me, she will be an unstoppable woman of faith in whatever she decides to do.
Blake will have a pretty good role model on that front. For example, Kayleigh found time to lead weekly Bible studies while with the Trump campaign.
We would pray and read the word, and it just gave a little pep in our step, because these days are demanding, they're challenging, they're long. In politics, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that's the nature of the job, and that just, I think it it was a little rod of lightning of just energy and joy in our day.
Nowadays, it's not always so joyful when she looks out into the briefing room.
You wonder if a strong conservative Christian supporting Donald Trump drives the media up a wall.
I think that's right. People are attacked for their faith, not just me, but Christian men and women across this country. It's unfortunate, but I think we found a real voice in President Trump who stood for religious freedom and pro-life and given us this boldness. And it was at Harvard Law School when I felt attacked as a conservative and as a Christian that I realized it was that megaphone and that kind of boldness we needed and that kind of fighter we needed to represent the Christian community.
And so McEnany is here now for this role of a lifetime. And while she works for the Commander-in-Chief, she ultimately plays to an almighty audience of one.
My mission in life is that when I pass, he will look at me and say, well done, good and faithful servant. And if I can end my life that way, it doesn't matter what the people say on the way there.
David Brody, CBN News, Washington.